Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Tuts Poems with your host John Tutson. How you doing there, sir?
I'm doing very well today. How about yourself, Ron?
I can't complain. Hey, man, everything is copacetic, as they would say. So awesome.
What that's from an era long gone.
Long- exactly, exactly. Yes. Well, hey, again, this is Tuts Poems. All right, conversational narrative, and for those who may be watching, this is to help inspire all you poets out there that may be of age per se. Hey, over the age of 62, or just a poet in general. All right, poetry is an art form that's the world needs, and words definitely help shape our culture. And so John is stepping out. It's Tuts Poems, and he has some awesome poems that he's going to be reading. And if you are a poet and you would like to be a part of this, we would love to have you on as well. And also make sure you go in, check out the Facebook page, Tuts Poems Facebook page. Go in and join that Facebook page. All right, we'd love to see all your comments and things like that. Just want to unite poets all around. But hey, I'm gonna let John tell more of it. So go ahead, John.
Hey, well, I am hoping that I do inspire people. Right now, my target audience is people in the same age category as me, and to show that you are not too old to do anything that you want to do, as we've been told all our life, and now we're into those ages and stages where the advice that we've been giving younger people or other people or receiving, we now start to move on it. And my subject for today is what inspired you. And because in order to keep moving forward, we have to be inspired by something. We have to have a reason to get up. If you work, if you work, you have to have a reason to be inspired and do a good job. Getting a paycheck is great, but you also want to enjoy what it is that you do. I'm going to read a couple of poems today, and the first one is called Educate America. Personally, I did not have the greatest academic educational experiences. I did not really understand the what a good education could do and where it could lead you until I was in my 20s. And in a sense, I started trying to make it up by going to school and things like that. But when I started writing poetry, this poem came out. It's called Educate America. Our country is making a tragic mistake. The minds of its children is what is at stake. It's time they passed new legislation that helps, not hurts, public education. Each year, cutbacks are swift and cruel. The rich send their kids to private schools. Stop the educational budget cuts. Don't destroy our schools, let's build them up. Convince the teachers they have to stay. They're quitting their profession every day. Without them, those kids don't stand a chance of acquiring skills they need to advance. Entrusted with children to teach and mold the future of America in the hands they hold. Sharing their knowledge with our young each day, building bonds with each in a different way. Teachers are more important than some realize, second only to parents in a student's eyes. Teaching skills to survive in society, reward them with a generous salary. If they're denied a needed pay hike, what options are open but to quit or strike? Students watch their teachers in a financial squeeze, and they stay away from that field like a contagious disease. The objectives of all public schooling must be the same. Graduation of each student should be their aim. Give them equipment that works. Update the books. Clean up the schools by improving their looks. Catch the kids young while they're eager to learn. With a desire for knowledge like a fire, it burns. Show them learning is easy and can be lots of fun. Each day they'll be yearning to get that work done. From daycare through college, America should pick up the cause. A first class education guarantees they will never be lost. Each child deserves the same chance to succeed. Equip all of our schools to meet all of those needs. This shouldn't be measured in dollars and cents. If children are the future, isn't this money well spent? No longer can we citizens stand idly by as children in our community grow intellectually dry. Our future is in the hands of the next generation. Can they handle their job without a quality education?
Man, that is powerful. That needs to be put on a plaque, or every school district in America needs to see that poem. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, man. Oh wow, man, that was a powerful poem right there, John. That's all I can say. That was just powerful, and needs it needs to be plastered all over media because we need to get back to education.
You know, and I wrote that poem
Hmm.
also in the 90s
In the '90s.
when
Mm,
yeah, in the 90s because we were having the same problems with school that we're having now. And
mm,
it always amazes me that all of these academics that run the school system, and I know that they have to deal with the politicians and the politics and the taxpayers, but we always say, that our children are our future. But then they want to do budget cuts. They don't want to pay teachers quality money and
hmm
all of the setbacks and cutbacks that they cause. And they use the fact that some people survive regardless as, oh, well, there's nothing wrong.
mm. Well, that is so powerful. Wayne, she, yeah, she definitely applauds that poem there, and all educators should definitely use that poem as motivation, and hopefully the right politicians also or officials see this and realize the sincerity how we need to definitely change our educational system. And plus, if it hasn't changed since the '90s, that's sad.
It's yeah, I mean, it's a big problem. I mean, schools teach kids way more than they did in the past. But
Hmm.
I think that they put the burden on the kids and the parents. You have to get a computer. You have to teach your kids. They want to do everything online. They want to move at a pace that I don't know whether the average kid can keep up with. This year with COVID and people having to, parents and children having to figure out how to educate themselves manually because so many times we take the brightest and we use them as the average.
Wow.
Kids with all the resources, we look at their results and we say that this is what the average kid needs. And, you know, it's not always like that,
No, that's an
so
unfair assessment. You're right.
yeah.
Definitely. Okay, man. So, man, education. Wow, awesome. Again, hey, got to get those snaps up. Hey, all right, for all you poets out there, you all share this and let people know. All right. Again, Tuts Poems is on, and we have some more poems coming to you. Go ahead, John.
Okay, the next poem I'm going to read, I'm going to stay on my education thing, and this is called The Teacher.
All
Kenny
right.
was a kid. Okay, you ready? Kenny was a kid who refused to be taught. His mind was the battlefield on which teachers fought. Educators said he was the type who couldn't be reached. This sort of child was the devil to teach. Kenny was no angel. He was smart-mouthed and mean and spent most of his time with the discipline dean. Kenny was no dummy. He possessed a sharp mind. He just didn't think about school and how he didn't think about how school and life intertwined. For whatever reason, he still went to school, though he thought doing lessons was only for fools. When he did go to class, he just acted disruptive, clowning around, or being destructive. Ain't nothing you can teach me, Kenny would say. The law says this is how I must spend my day. I don't need no math, English, science, or history. Tell me, how is this going to make me some currency? His behavior was like an uncivilized creature, alienating himself from all but one teacher. Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan's life had one mission: to save any kid who take time to listen. He refused to give up on another youth or see another die before they knew the truth. He invited Kenny to join him for a walk, sharing his knowledge in a man-to-man talk. He said to build a good life, you need a solid foundation. That is the reason for a good education. Crime is the option of those unprepared who resort to the easy way out because they're scared. And a life of crime doesn't always pay, but it can quickly get you locked away. Now Kenny was who Mr. Jordan was trying to save from a life on the streets and maybe an early grave. Mr. Jordan said, I know you think that no one cares, and you're finding out life's not always fair. First things go first. That's a good education. Without it, life is filled with lots of frustration. Street life's exciting because you're moving so fast, but not all the players in that game last. Just look around and see those who fail, strung out on liquor or drugs or rotting in jail. We teachers want to help you to stand on your feet by giving you the tools you'll need to compete. Right now, you don't believe me and have many doubts, but you haven't given up yet, or you would have dropped out. You're intelligent and young. If you will try, you will find. No challenge too tough if you prepare your mind. There's no guarantee for success, but you can engineer a pattern for learning in your formative years. Teachers offer you the tools necessary to get ahead. The streets take everything from you and soon leave you dead. Stay in school. You're impatient and young, but don't ruin your life because you only get one.
Man. Yeah. Hey, this is rich right here. This is for all you educators out there like myself. All right. I mean, yeah. Hey, John. Hey, what was that written back in the '90s too?
Yeah, yeah, that was written back then.
Oh wow, Tuts Poems, y'all. Hey, we're focusing on education today, man. So John, what inspired you to write these poems on education?
Just thinking back on my life,
Yes, that is rich.
when I was, thank you. When I was in high school, I
Mhm.
my first couple of years, I just wouldn't listen to anybody. I thought I had all the answers,
Mhm.
and I was Kenny, more or less,
Mm.
until I ended up having to transfer to another school, and I ran into a teacher, and he just started taking time with me. He started talking to me,
Mm.
and he was one of the first teachers that I could remember, that told me that I was smart,
Mm.
and so I've always had an affinity for teachers. I got a couple teachers. I got a couple sisters that teach, and when I started going to taking college classes, I found out that if you're a willing student, then you can learn,
Hmm.
but you have to be willing.
Well said. Most definitely. Man. Yes, he is dropping some rich information here. And again, if you all have comments or so, questions, feel free to post like Miss Wayner Crumley. And she says, yes, that's rich. And yeah, hey, John, tell us, for those who just tuning in, tell us what's the purpose of this show that you're doing it, the reasons for it.
If you're in the age group, if you're in my age group, I'm 62. Probably you have said at some time or other, if I had the time to do what I really wanted to do, this is what would do. And then you got caught up in life's responsibilities and jobs and children. And before you knew it, you were at this age. But you retired and now you have time. And so I sort of look at this as my catch up to my dreams time. And I've always wanted to do the poetry, but I never had the real time. And then when technology changed, as technology kept changing, then those things that seemed impossible started looking more and more possible. And then I met Ron a couple years ago, and he told me his dreams of being a multimedia mogul and how he was going to do it. And they say, you see that wagon going by. Sometimes you just got to latch on and go for the ride.
Man, man, thank you. Hey, so you pretty much the show is inspiring folks out there
I surely
around.
hope so.
Yeah,
I,
well,
I,
and that's one of
I
the
hope so.
purposes. Okay, well,
Yeah.
hey, hope is definitely something that's very powerful, and once you lose your hope, then that's it. So man,
It
hey,
is. It is hard.
thank you for stepping out
Yeah.
and making it happen, because I know somebody is definitely being inspired to go after their dreams,
Yeah.
and
Life
you're
is
doing it.
challenging.
Hmm.
Life is challenging, and we learn that you're not. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day,
Right.
and it's how you use those minutes that is what's important. And understanding that some of us, things are out of our financial reach,
Hmm.
locations, and but we have to keep that hope and faith and desire to work towards what it is, because even though, like with my children, they're grown, but they still look at me because they also want to see if you are walking your if you are walking your talk.
Hmm.
And just because you get older, it doesn't really justify quitting,
Right.
because I
That's
know we
good.
all have stuff to do that we want
That's
to do.
good. That's good. Good. Tuts Poems conversational narrative here with Mr. John Tutson. And yes, yeah, man, he's given some great poems on here. And we invite any other poets out there to, if you would like to, read your poetry as well, we would love to have you on. All right, John, what's our next one we have?
Okay, my last one is something that I wrote a couple of days ago, Ron.
All right. Okay. All right.
When I started thinking about what inspires me.
Interesting. Okay.
So this one is called "I Want It All." I have not been everywhere. It's a gigantic world out there. Live. I want to live experiences from common to rare, the kind that you just can't wait to share. There is so much I'd like to see, from the smallest plant to a redwood tree. I'm going to take a walk and never stop. I'm going to go to the lowest valley to the highest mountaintop. I want to experience everything that the world's got. Survive the coldest cold, endure the hottest hot. I want to breathe the rarest air and fill my lungs with it when I get there. I want to travel across the land on dirt, on rocks, on grass, on sand. I want to go where cold and hot winds blow. All of Earth's beauty, I want to know. To cross the oceans, sail the seven seas, meet everybody on the planet, creatures, birds, beasts, and bees. Explore the safest places you can trust and also the world's most dangerous. I want to live life and see it all: winter, summer, spring, and fall.
Okay, all right. I want it all. I want it all.
I want it
Yes.
all.
Now be careful what you ask for, huh? Depending on
Hey,
what that all is.
well, I also want the wisdom to know what to do with it.
There you go. Hey, there you go. Wow. Wow, John. Awesome. Awesome, man. What for when it comes to writing, what triggers you to write, or where do you get the inspiration to write from?
Uh, the world triggers me when I
Mm-hmm.
see stuff that's going on, and I would like to think that I always try to think, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can, do something, and sometimes I can't. But I can write about it, and hopefully I can share it with others who may be thinking the same thing, or that it might trigger something, that they can do. And
Mm-hmm.
the headlines of the world, the situations of the world. I mean, we are finding out that sometimes the world, it's so funny that I'm not going to say that it's split 50-50,
Mm-hmm.
but there's good and there's bad. We've got some of the greatest things going on in this world, and then we also have some of the most terrible.
I agree.
We have situations that seem like they should be simple to solve, and people refuse to solve them just because they're happy with the way things are.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Wow. Until it affects them differently, then all right, yes, I'm ready to change, but not considering other folks, it
Yeah.
may be a hardship for them.
And then sometimes, people are a couple of steps away from happiness,
Mm-hmm.
but they've become depressed, and all they can see is dark. And sometimes if you can, say the right words to people, you can show them some light. It might be a little crack that breaks through their darkness, but they'll say, wow, I hadn't thought of that. And it might then start them, on their journey back to the light. I don't know for sure, but I hope. I pray.
All right. Hey, well, again, for those who just now joining us, all right, Tuts Poems, the podcast we do each and every Wednesday at around 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to appeal to all you poets out there. Well, hey, you know what? Hey, John, hey, I'm gonna let you do that because this is your show, and tell them where to find you and things like that.
Well, you can find me here on Facebook, and you can contact me at touchpoems@gmail.com. And we're working on some other things, and as those come along, I'll be sure to pass that information on. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for your comments. Please, if you write, I would love to hear, your perspective on what you do. We don't. I write in conversational narrative, but that's not the only thing that I feel is quality work. So please, contact us and we'll set something up. Um, and go for your dreams. Do the
Yeah.
thing that you want to do. I earlier I told my son, to find your truth and pursue it.
It's good.
And again, it's one of those things where you say, "Well, Daddy, you said this, but did you do this?"
Right. That's good.
So again, please, I hope I didn't. I hope you enjoyed our half hour. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
That's right. All right. And again, if you just tune in and you missed the broadcast, well, you could catch the replay on the Facebook page right there. Okay. And again, get in contact with them if you're a poet, tutspoems at gmail.com. We'd love to connect with you and bring you on here. Go after your dreams that you heard Mr. John Tutson tell you. King Tut Studios there. All right. Hey, you'll have a good one.